Hello and welcome to my review of the Primaris Space Marine Hellblaster squad. Welcome to your heavy support choice. So these are the new Primaris Space Marines that you get in the Dark Imperium box set. I'm wondering where they got their inspiration from for the name, because they can blow themselves up. And they've all got these supercharged plasma weapons called plasma incinerators. Let's have a look at the models and then we'll talk a little bit about the rules. So like the normal Primaris Space Marines, they're of the height that you would expect them to be. And they've got these massive sort of plasma gun type weapons with an extra sort of cooling vent thing. So hence why they're not going to roll a 1. So they're very simple, straightforward to put together. I drilled the holes out the ends of my barrels just because I do. They're not in very sort of dynamic poses at all. I would have liked to have seen one of them sort of unclipping one of the coolant canisters, or I don't know, maybe firing upwards or something like that. But instead we've got sort of generic poses. We've got one guy firing. He's sort of walking and firing, which is fine. This guy is he's almost aiming his weapon, but he's looking that way. I've just noticed a massive mould line there, so I need to get rid of that. One thing I will say about all these is the mould lines have been pretty terrible, really. The backpacks they still have mould lines on. The guns along the barrel, rather than on the bottom, they have mould lines. The helmet, every sort of on the shoulder pads, every sort of place you can think of where you don't want a mould line, they've gone and done it. They've put a mould line on there, which is really, really surprising. When Forge World are sort of moving forward in their mould lines and places where they get slippage, things like that, and actually building the model together. There's that model that I can't remember. It's got thunder in its name. Anyway, yeah, models like that, they sort of, have been developed so that any mould lines or slippage or gaps, are being overlapped by pieces. And in a time when Forge World are doing that, Games Workshop really need to up their game big time for their mould lines, because it's terrible. If anything, it's got worse. Some of the worst mould lines I've seen is with the Skitarii models, but these Primaris Space Marines. Now it might be the mould that they use. They just want to crank as many of these cash cows out as possible. But still, I spent a long time on these, just cleaning them up and making them look sort of semi presentable compared to the all the Death Guard models. But anyway. Enough on that. So he's sort of moving forward, not aiming his gun. So you've got two guys aiming their guns, and one doesn't even have a helmet, and it's probably been shot off because it's not on his utility belt or anything like that. So one on helmeted guy. Head size compared to the old Space Marines, yeah, bigger. Definitely a bigger head. Right. Anyway, so that is the Hellblasters. They're going to look. Mine are going to look exactly the same as they did on the box set and things. Let's talk about their rules, okay? So compared to an Intercessor Primaris Space Marine, exactly the same stat line. They're just here, exactly the same. One thing I will say as well, while I'm sort of complaining, one thing I will say is these data sheets are terrible. For one, they're too small. I think someone sort of got the idea and went, oh yeah, we can make a data sheet that's this big, and no bigger, and this is the font size. Someone messed up, because these fonts are absolutely tiny. My eyesight is very good, but you want something bigger than this if you're referencing it. Not everybody can remember how many wounds models have got and their wargear and things like that. I think that the font is just too small. I really do, for these data sheets. It needed to be bigger. But that's sort of the same throughout the book, really. They stick to a similar sort of size font. Anyway, yeah, so Hellblaster, same stat line, but they've got these plasma incinerators. What are they? Well, they're the same range as the bolt rifles, so they're 30 inches, rapid fire 1, strength 7, AP -4 though, damage 1, and then they've got specific abilities. So the abilities that they have is each time a model fires a plasma incinerator, it can supercharge the weapon before firing. So, you know, I'm going to supercharge this weapon, I'll fire it. Then if you do that, you increase the strength and the damage by 1. So it then goes up to strength 8, damage 2. If you roll any to hit rolls of a 1 though when firing, the model is slain and the weapon explodes. So you don't get a save or anything. It just explodes and it kills your Primaris Space Marine that has 2 wounds. So, I mean, it's the 41st millennium. A Primarch has returned. Belisarius has brought these plasma incinerators out of a loot crate somewhere. And one of the abilities is that you can kill yourself with your own weapon, which is interesting. And it's that trade-off, because if you've got 5 of them, 4 and a sergeant, which you can only have in a unit, I might add, you can choose to supercharge obviously all of their weapons, which give you strength 8 weapons with the damage 2. You know, it might be worth doing, but if you get 2 1s, you know, you kiss goodbye to basically 4 wounds, you know, and you are paying a premium if you go match playing stuff with the 24 points per model. Oddly enough, they're actually cheaper than the normal intercessors. They're actually 23 points instead of 24. But anyway, so that's the weapons, that's their rules and abilities and things. Obviously they've got their grenades and things like that. So, and that's all I wanted to really touch on in regards to their rules. What do you think of these new martyrdom Primaris Space Marines? Put your comments below. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.